So here's the game plan. We have a brand new OEM hood right here. OEM fenders are in that box. This is our top support to replace our cracked up piece, which is right there. But we got to transfer all the stuff from that to that. Of course, that's got to get painted white as well. We've got our front crash bar right here, which is going to replace our mangled up piece right there. And then something a lot of people overlook when they're repairing a car, these are hood hinges. Anytime you have a hood that looks like that, you're gonna need brand new hood hinges. These things always get mangled up in accidents. They push the hood all sorts of different directions, and even though they look pretty decent, likely they're bent and they're pretty inexpensive parts. Now I'm almost ready to get this car out of here into a body shop so they could do frame work on it, but I'm running into a little bit of an issue. Maybe one of you guys out there could assist me with. Most body shops don't seem to want to deal with this amount of damage if it's not being billed out by an insurance company. And you can already see I've started the job. I replaced a bunch of broken stuff in there. I've taken all the damaged parts off. Some of them are over there, some of them are elsewhere. Body shops aren't working on cars like this because they've already been totaled out by the insurance company. The second you show up with something like this, tell them you want to pay cash, they just aren't interested. It would take them more time than comparable jobs that pay more, again, through insurance. So it's really difficult for me to go into a body shop and say, look, I need these frame rails parallel to me, I need them measured out, I need them to be right, whether you bend them, cut them, repair them, replace them. I need the other one, the same thing done, and then I want the car back so that I can reassemble it and show it to you guys on video. Now, I can't blame body shops for operating like this. It actually makes a lot of sense. And then there's the liability standpoint. If they just fix one component, I reassemble it, and it doesn't turn out right, well, whose fault is that? I might go back there and they say, well, you assembled it, so it's not really our fault. I completely get that, especially with me wanting to put my hands on the car and rebuild it myself. There's a lot of different logistical things that could just be a nightmare for them. Now, my main issue is that the body shops that I deal with will keep my car for upwards of a month or two when the job really only should take them 2 to 3 days. In the case of the Focus RS, I don't see that job taking more than a couple days if they diligently worked at it. At least I have a second rebuild project that we can get started on while we're waiting for the Focus to come back. But by that point, you get caught up in this rebuild project, and that one gets put on hold, and 6 months down the road, who knows, the car still might not be finished, kind of like my Corvette. So if any of you guys know a body shop in or around the Tampa Bay area that will, 1, perform framework, 2, do it out of pocket, and 3, does it in a timely and really professional fashion, let me know in the comments section below, or you can always email me. My email is in the description box below. We got to continue disassembly of this car. Right now, I want to get the fenders off. When we get the fenders off, we have to take this rocker panel off in order to unbolt them from the bottom. So let's get to it right now. We have more good news than bad news. I'm going to show you all around, but first let's start with a shout out to the previous owner. You see this right here? This is something that I show a lot on the channel. This is a locking wheel lug. It looks different than all the other ones, and I've actually not seen a locking lug like this before. Usually a locking wheel lug can be found either underneath the carpet in the trunk of the car, which you see a lot of the tools and the jack was removed from this car from someone, or it's in your center console, which it's not in there, or in the glove box, which it's not in there. What is in here is one of the many pieces of paper that was left in this car when I bought it. When you leave that much scrap paper and receipts in a car, they're bound to have some names and information on it, and they all had the same name and information, which was the previous owner of the cars. Now, since it was missing the tools, the owner's manual, and the spare key, I thought I'd reach out to the guy. All right, it's gonna be blurry, and that's a good thing, but here is our text conversation. He was the guy with the bluish green speech bubble, I was the guy with the gray speech bubble. Anyway, he responded twice. I asked him if he happened to have the spare key in the owner's manual, in which he responded yes. I didn't ask him about the locking lug key because I didn't know about it yet. I then asked him if I could purchase them from him. He asked, well, how much do you want to give me? I responded, how's $100 sound? Didn't counter, didn't anything. I responded a few times saying, hey, I don't mean to bother you. And really, I don't mean to bother the guy. I am a random person texting him. So thanks for your cooperation, previous owner. Now, honestly, he's not obligated to sell me anything. He owned the car. He owns all the pieces that he took from it. There's nothing I can do, but I would appreciate a response. So let me show you exactly what's going on with the RS. If you guys remember, the passenger side has what I would consider a little bend in the frame rail, and the driver's side has a pretty severe bend in the frame rail. So taking the fender off and everything will give us a really good look at what's behind and the length of the frame rail if anything else is damaged. And everything actually looks really good in here. You could see that there's no major kinks. There's no damage that extended beyond this right here, about an inch back from the frame rail. Even our corner suspension here looks really good. Now this bar has an X drawn on it. It does look a little bit crooked. So this front support bar or sway bar, that is likely bent a little bit, and that should be easy enough to replace. Now, this is the side I would be mostly concerned about. With this sort of movement in the front, I was worried that there might be some bending or kinking back here, which would really be a disaster, a nightmare to fix. And even though it's tough to see behind the shock here, everything is really good. It's just like it should be. Again, our damage really doesn't go past where you can visually see it here on the outside of the frame rail. There shouldn't be any work performed in this area besides replacement of components like the fender liner and the fender and all that sort of stuff. So the way the car is sitting now, this jack stand is higher than that jack stand. So the car's on an angle, which makes the frame really look out of whack. What was concerning is whether these aprons were pulled in at all or not in the accident. So the original top support piece here was made out of plastic, as is the replacement. And what's really good is if it were made out of metal, it would be stronger and it might just bend each side inward. And since it's made out of plastic, well, it just cracks. If you look right here, this thing sits as it should. Obviously, this crash bar being pushed up like this is getting in the way of it a little bit, but this sits exactly where it should. The holes line up on each side, and really when we get that whole entire front crash bar out, the frame rails where they should be, this all should go back really nice. All right, I want to drop the car on the ground now, spin it around so we can get to the back, probably pull that rear bumper off and assess the damages. I don't really feel like moving all this stuff, so I'm actually gonna back the Focus out. I'll just move the tractor real quick. That should make things a little bit easier, and or not. Bumper is off, and I really didn't expect to find this on the back end of the RS. Now, if we come over here to the bumper itself, we could see where there was a lot of heavy scuffing, but it didn't even crack the bumper. There's one really pronounced line right here, went in, broke the rear reflector, turn signal, whatever this is, and it even scuffed up the diffuser, which is really disappointing because obviously all of these pieces come separate. The reflectors, the bumper, and the diffuser, and each one of them are quite pricey. Now with this amount of damage, I mean, look at this, how deep this plastic scoring is. This bumper could be repaired. I just don't know how good it would look when it was all done. Not to mention, if I had this done the right way, I think that the labor costs would be maybe around the same as just ordering a whole new bumper and of course getting it repainted white. Now here's what I found behind the corner with all that damage. You could see it was pinched just a little bit, dented inward. Now from inside the trunk itself, you can't see anything. When the bumper is over this, you can't see anything. So besides filling this possibly with something that will keep it waterproof and weather tight and making sure this is all painted over so it doesn't rust in the future, I don't really see a reason to repair this. Although if you do, let me know in the comment section below. This is disappointing. I had no clue that this was there, but you don't really know what you got until you start doing things like removing body panels. If you watched my videos recently on the Corvette, you noticed that I had two wheels on one side that were out of round. I got those wheels replaced. These wheels, since this car is so new, are very expensive. And my plan is to get this wheel completely refinished. It looks like a matte black color, so I think that that should be able to be repaired. My big question is whether this is out of round or not, whether it rolled up on something going a decent rate of speed. So of course this is going to go on a balancing machine before we go ahead and get it repaired. Underneath the car, if we look at the exhaust, there's no damage on it. It's not out of place. It looks really good, although I might be getting an aftermarket valved exhaust, so hit the like button if you're into that. But really what I'd be concerned about are bent suspension components, and I don't see anything that's severely bent. I don't even see anything scuffed up. The whole rear end of the car looks really good. Our rear crash bar seems completely unscathed all the way around. Nothing behind it where it mounts into appears to be pushed in. Nothing behind the trunk is pushed in, which is good. And I put a level on it about as square as I could, and it's pretty darn level. It's not completely dead center, but it is in between the two rings. And you might say, oh, that's not a good sign, Sam, but here, let me show you this. If I put it directly on the ground, you can see that it's off to the other side. So that means my ground is not completely level either. Now that all the damaged components have been torn down from the Focus RS, I'm ready to get this car to a body shop so they can go ahead and repair that front end frame damage. And while it's there, I'll ask their input on this rear unibody damage, see if they think it's worth repairing or not. Now, I've asked a lot of input from you guys in this specific video, so definitely let me know what you think about this rebuild project in the comment section below. Now, even though this car will be headed to a body shop very soon, we have a lot of panels we need painted, and we're gonna do it off the car. So that'll be coming up in our next episode. And I just launched a quick giveaway on my Instagram. If you're not already following me, be sure to do so. Right here you can find it, or you can jump down and grab the link in the description box below. I'm also going to list the details for the giveaway in the description box below so all you guys can enter as well. Guys, I hope you liked this one. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. I will catch you very soon.